A baking? Is she baked or is she? I haven't heard that before, even though I am familiar with the Maine potato farmers. Of course, the potato net. I think there's a potato net, right? On what is it, 80 meters, 75 meters, or whatever. So, yeah, very good. Maine, the Maine coast is one of my favorite areas. I love the Maine coast. I've been all over the country, including Alaska, and it's just, I don't know, dude. There's something about it. My wife and I would take off every summer, and we'd take off for a week and head out to Acadia National Park, and we'd knock around over there, for about a week, and it would rain 4 out of the 7 days. Typical northeast Maine coast area, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Played a lot in photography back then, and really had a good time there. Back to you there, Robert.
Okay, very fine, Steve. And it is a great area. We had the pleasure of going to college together. I was with the Air Force at Dow Air Force Base, and they sent me. I applied for aviation cadets, and one of the requirements back then was that you had to have 30 hours of degree work towards Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts or what have you. And so we got engaged while she was in her last year of high school at her prom. And we decided, her mother said that she had to go to college, and the Air Force was sending me to college. So we got married in August of that year and entered college together as a married couple, and we enjoyed the area very much. The best man in our wedding, his father owned the largest lobster export area on Mount Desert Island. Down in Southwest Harbor, actually, it was, I forget the name of the harbor now, but anyways, a big place and a crab manufacturing place. So we had the pleasure of going down there every weekend and spending the weekends down there and enjoying that life. And it was really, really a neat place. We will not go back to it again because you got to get reservations. You've got to do this. You can't get parking in Bar Harbor. You can't go to Cadillac Mountain up the mountain without reservations and a line to wait for your reservations and all of this because of all of the just a minute. Because of all the ships coming into tourist ships, and they've wrecked the island. So we don't go back there anymore, Steve. Go ahead.
Well, that's interesting, Robert, because I haven't been there in 20 years, and I heard that just this year from someone that you cannot go up Cadillac anymore. Last time I was there, you could just, of course, I was a big cyclist back then, so I always had the road bike with me, and I would ride the loop on the island and Mount Desert Island, and I'd head up do the climb up Cadillac. That was one of my big things I really enjoyed doing. But from what I heard, that's true. You can't go up there anymore without a reservation. I guess it's turned into a real zoo. It was a zoo, God, 30 years ago, back in the 90s. Early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, when I first met my wife, that's when we were going up there. Even in the summer, it was really nice, It was busy, pretty busy, but it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? So, anyways, yeah, it's a shame. I had a park ranger tell me, gosh, it was back then. It was probably in 94, 95. I was talking to the park ranger at Thunder Hole, and he was telling me that he says, "Oh no, this isn't the time to be here." He said, "You got to come in the fall. All the leaves are turning. The surf is very rough. The waves, the sea gets very turbulent, and he said Thunder Hole is just amazing during the fall. So I don't know if you've ever been there in the fall and experienced that, but that's what he told me. W4OGH K1GMM.
Okay, very fine, Steve. K1GMM, W4OGH. We've been there at every time of the year conceivably. That is spring, summer, fall, and winter. And it's beautiful in its own right for every time of the year. And now the best time to go is in the winter when the ships aren't coming in. You get 3 of these ships that carry 3,000 to 7,000 people, and they all disembark
That's crazy.
at the same time and hit that area. I mean, it is absolutely incredibly sad to see what's happened. Over in Northeast Harbor, all the big homes. Yeah, I think half of the Ford family, what was the other? Oh, Gary Moore had his sailing yacht anchored there and a home on Northeast Harbor, and all the very influential people did, and they
What's up,
just
Jonathan?
don't want to participate anymore with all that's going on there. I mean, you can't get into Bar Harbor. I mean, literally, you cannot get into the city. We sat an hour going from where you cross over into the island until you got into Bar Harbor, sitting in a line of traffic. The last time we were there, and we said adios. It's been nice run going here, but not anymore. And that was about, I want to say, 10 years ago. And the ships were just starting to come in at that point. And as I say, it's nice for the economy of the town, but even the people who are benefiting from it would like to see these ships just disappear and forget there was such a place called Bar Harbor or Mount Desert Island or whatever you want to call it, and so on and so forth. Well, anyways, we after leaving there, my wife's family is still from up around the Belfast area, and we go up there and eat all the lobster we can consume in a period of time. And we always say we go up to get gout, but we've never gotten gout, so we keep going back and eating more and more. The pleasure of eating lobster on the seashore at Belfast. We have a couple of favorites there, so that's what we do now. K1 GMM W4OGH.
Yeah, I got another quick question for you. Boy, do I miss it. Well, before I get into that, I haven't had some good seafood, dude, in years, many years, probably over a decade. Haven't even been over to the coast. I'm not even that far from the coast, 2.5 hours. But the southeast Maine coast. But I really miss that. Whole belly clams, baby. I have had lobster, but I'd love like some fresh oysters, clams. You know the routine. Anyways, good old fashioned New England clam chowder, like the real deal. But like I've spent time in Camden. I'm sure Camden you can't move in either, which is south of Mount Desert Island, of course. I spent time in Portland, and this was about 10 years ago. I was over in Portland doing some photography stuff and up in Pemaquid Point. But, dude, it was Portland. What a zoo that is. I went down, got some beautiful black and whites, time-lapse exposures of Portland headlight. That's what I was going to mention, too. You mentioned the clog. Everything jammed up in Bar Harbor. Back in, I still have a picture. It's really cool. It was taken, this is long before digital, and I have a big blow up of this, a big print, an Ilfochrome, Cibachrome print of a nighttime shot of a band playing, an orchestra playing in the park at Bar Harbor. Dude, and this was in the middle of summer, I would say there was probably between 30 and 50 people there. That was it. It was awesome. I just love that place. I take it now, if they did that now, there's probably a couple thousand people packed onto that green. But my question, getting back to my question, are there other places along the coast that you found that are really, really nice? In other words, everybody gravitates to the big guns, Pemaquid Point, Bar Harbor, that whole island. Are there other places you've been to that you can kind of escape the madhouse? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. That's why we go to Belfast. Belfast
Jonathan, you
is a
weirdo.
very old, quaint town. They've rebuilt and restructured it, and it's about 30 miles from where my brother-in-law's place is, the big farm up there. And Belfast, south of Camden, is a very nice place. There's Lincolnville. They have a big lobster house in Lincolnville, and there's a lot of quaint little villages all along. All you got to do, you don't have to go north of Ellsworth, where you go over to the island. You can just stay and go right down the coast all the way down, and there's beautiful places. Some of the hotels are very modern, some of them are very quaint. Camden became very famous for one thing, and it's a very rich man's town. If you look over the Camden Harbor, you see millions and millions of dollars in yachts that are at anchor and tied to docks and things like that. But the one single thing that made Camden famous back in the day was that's where they filmed from the book, Peyton Place. Do you remember that?
I do, but I never watched it. Bob, go ahead.
Now, that was filmed in Camden, and they did a really nice job. And they have a beautiful overlooking Camden. There's a mountain that you can go up there and see the whole coastline and what have you. It's spend some time there between where LL Bean is in what is it? I want to say what the heck is Freeport? From Freeport up to Belfast and up to Ellsworth is
Good
a very,
idea,
very
Jonathan.
nice place.
Freeport, that's what I was trying to think of. Hey, have you ever been to, yeah, all good info. And, well, before I get, Camden is where I spent my one place is I spent my honeymoon with my first wife. I love Camden, even though I don't like my first wife. It didn't end well, dude. But yeah, Camden was beautiful. And I'm talking a long time ago. This is back in 1980. Good Lord, 1985 maybe. So yeah, I loved Camden. That's actually what got me attracted to the Maine coast. I just decided, well, I've read about Camden, heard about it. Screw it. I'll book a motel over there. A little quaint motel. Literally could walk right out the door and walk right down to the harbor. Just awesome, dude. Beautiful. Let's see. I forgot where I was going. There's so much here. We're covering Kittery. Have you ever stopped at the Kittery Trading Post? Oh my gosh, dude. If you're a Second Amendment type person, that is a freaking candy store of epic proportions. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Kittery is but again, that's one of the southern Maine, the entrance points at Kittery coming into Maine, and I don't like the entire Portland area. I think, although it's a very vibrant area, commercially, economically, and otherwise, Old Orchard Beach. That's the summer home of the Canadians that want to visit the U.S. I mean, that place is just loaded with Canadians, and but I don't like that whole area, and it's so commercial, and it just it reminds me of any place in that you can go to along the beach that it's like the Maryland shore. I don't like
What's
it.
going on there, Brett?
Atlantic City, Maryland, what have you on down. It's just so commercial. Very nice places to stay. Very crowded restaurants to get into. You get up there between Camden and Ellsworth, you can go eat in some very delicious places. The ambiance is absolutely great. You take a sweater at night because it's so cool, even on the hottest of days. The sea breezes and enjoy. And you don't have to wait in line. Some places you do, but for the most part, you can. And they got roadside shacks that you can get clams, oysters, mussels, or lobster.
Freaking QSB is typical circle jerk.
There's so much of it.
Freaking bands
still,
are such
great.
crap.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Portland, absolute zoo. And it was like that. Gosh, dude. Like I said, 10 years ago. My next door neighbor just moved back. He was living in Portland, lost his wife. My former next door neighbor, he moved back. He's actually right down the street from me. He owned the house right next door. And I asked him about Portland, and he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, you don't want anything to do with that." What was it? Old Port in Portland. I have some really neat HDR images that I took in Old Port. Kind of colorful. Real interesting architectural type stuff. Just thought of that just now. Yeah. QSB. Tell me what you're running there before we lose it. And the QSB is pretty savage. You're anywhere from an S7 to a 5 pushing 10 over. So 40 meters is still being a dink. The band is not that great, at least between a little bit of a stretch right now. I think probably 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon we could do it on. Well, I've talked to Virginia at 10 to 15 over on 5 watts, believe it or not. Certain times in the afternoon. Give you WC here. I'm on an SDR2DX pushing about 350 watts. 400 watts, and out of a PW1, the antenna is a 2-element loop, Bob. So go ahead, tell me what you're running there before things fall apart. W4OGH, K1GMM.
Okay, very fine, Steve. And, there's quite a bit of QSB. I just turned the amp on. I'm running 200 watts. The rig is a Yaesu FTDX 5000. Then I've got a 2 amps here, a TL922 Alpha, the Kenwood, which is all refurbished and looks brand new from the factory. That did not have to be refurbished. When I say refurbished, it's got QSK and step start and vacuum relay and all to it, and that allows it'll run at the legal limit. And then I have a Titan 425
Happy New Year to you too,
which runs well over the legal limit. But those are the 2 amps that I have. The antenna is a Mosley Pro 77 Alpha. It's on a self-supporting tower, and I believe, I didn't even turn the indicator on. It's facing the northeast. That's where I keep it. So that's the rig there. Your PW1 and the transceiver and 2-element loop is doing a nice job for you. I haven't lost a word. The Queen Sugar Baker. This is typical right now of 40 meters, and sometimes in mid-afternoon, for no reason whatsoever, the band will just disappear. and then it'll come back. And that's the way, well, most of the bands are. We do a lot of work on 75 and 160, mainly 160. And boy, that band has been stinko for the wintertime activity. It's not like it's been in the past. It is very unpredictable, no consistency to it at all. K1GMMW4OGH.
And good morning, Bob, and good morning, Steve.
Mr. Paul?
Hey, good morning, Paul.
Everybody wanted to say good morning.
Hey, what's going on there, Paul? I was hoping somebody else would jump in because I got to go get my mother, but I'm having such a great time in here. More the merrier. So, yeah, good morning, and go ahead and grab it. K1GMM.
All right, well, hate to see you leave. I took a shower. I imagine you want to run out of here that quick. Oh, here comes the Cormers.
No, I got a little bit of time. I just looked at my watch. I was supposed to roll out at 11, but I don't care. I haven't been playing much radio. Oh, QRMers. Oh, that's great. So, anyways, yeah, Happy New Year, Paul. What's new? How was your holiday? Go ahead.
Oh, mine was very good. Hope yours was good too. And won't leave Bob out of the mix here, but anyway, hope everybody's holiday was good. And nice signals this morning. Someone attempting to break things up, but it's not going very well for them. And still needs to knock that off. Anyhow, they get a kick out of doing crap like that.
Yeah. It begs the question. I got a funny story for you along these lines. You still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking to my wife the other night, and she's got a friend that works. Okay. Her best friend, her brother is a pharmacist, right? And I'm not poking fun at people who are on this stuff, but she was telling her brother was telling her, and this was relayed to Lisa, and she told me, my wife, the number of people, it's like 90% of young people are on antidepressants, right? And I'm talking young people. We're talking like teenagers, still in high school. It's insane. He was talking to his sister about it, and my wife and Carm, his sister, are best friends. So they were chatting about this. They met up a while back, but that's irrelevant. Anyways, it begs the question. It's not really a question, but the level of mental instability, societal mental instability, is like, I've been saying that noise, general man-made noise, like from inverters and all kinds of crap running. All these electronics, the electronic age is truly has been exploding for years now, but the noise level is increasing. But then you enter folks with mental instability, and it's a little scary, dude, when you really look at it. I always laugh when I hear stuff like that because I'm like, wow, to be that mentally unstable and and be a part of this hobby. It's like I say, every asshat you meet on the street is in this hobby. People think it's a utopia. It is not. But that's my soapbox for the morning and my soapbox for 2023. So take it for what it's worth. But yeah, I'm actually fascinated by it, to be honest with you. Go ahead and push it down to Bob.
Okay. Yeah, there's a hobby what it used to be. There's a lot of good guys, but there's some goofballs out there. Bob, how are you doing this morning?
Very, very good. I brought up the amp, and you guys are overriding anything that was being produced here without any problems. And my philosophy, for the most part, on all of that is ignore it. and I don't try to give it any attention whatsoever. You just can't. Cormers aren't what they used to be. Back in the day, Paul, you know what I mean. Excuse me, I lost my voice there. I don't know how long you've been a ham, Steve, but I've been in the business of amateur radio for 60 years this year. It's my 60th year. And we knew what real farmers were back in the day. And they just ain't. The whoosh, remember the Russian woodpecker and all of that. We learned to operate around it. So my basic philosophy of it is put on the power, ignore it. If you can do it without the power, like I came up to, Steve called CQ. I came up with 200 watts. It did fine. I said, well, I'll just bring the power up, and that way I could hear you guys, and I've assured that you can hear me. But that's the way it goes. Paul, it's an overcast day, 33 degrees. It's a little chilly. If you wouldn't mind, kick that door up there, close the back door at the Mason-Dixon line, and keep the cold air above that, not below it. Go ahead, Steve. Paul and I go back many decades, not years, decades. K1GMM and 83GW4OGH.
Okay, I'm going to keep this short too. I tend to dribble a little bit too much. In the hobby since August of 2015, still on training wheels. Do a lot of farting around with SDR. I'm on the Sun. I do have an Apache, which put me through literal hell two mornings ago. God, I want to put my foot through that freaking thing. Love technology in the hobby. Got into the hobby because I love antenna systems. Played for how many years? 3 straight years, every single day. Out there at 11:30 at night, about 14 above zero. You can ask my wife. She's out there holding the tarp with a torch, working on antenna systems in a blinding snowstorm. Snow going sideways, tarp over my head. Played that game for 3 straight years, find the best antenna systems that would work at this QTH. And I've kind of settled down now. And I'm totally torched, burned out, and everything works most of the time. But other than that, having a good time. So, ran a commercial studio for about 15 years, been into music, sound production, toured with a vocal and orchestra tour in 1983. I'm giving you a huge history about me. Been into it since 17. I'm 58 right now. Drummer, basically what I would call a basement butcher. As far as a drummer goes, have worked on a lot of original projects, blah, blah, blah. Recorded small ensembles, acoustic ensembles, rock bands, stuff like that. Played in many, many groups, from everything from Jimmy Buffett cover bands to fusion jazz, progressive rock, ska, industrial. Retired wedding photographer. There you go. That's everything you need to know about the idiot up here. Go ahead, Paul, K1GMM.
Okay, Steve, K1GMM and W4OGH with 83G. I playing with the FT2000D today. I do like this radio. Bob's got one too. That's his backup. And Bob, I'm thinking about a 101D. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're into technology more than I am. It's kind of discouraging, and I'll just say that about the 101 in general. I was number 1 on the list for 2 years to get the 101 MP. And finally, I gave up. I got the 5,000. And then I ran into a couple of friends who went with both the D and the MPs down here. We've got several of them. And I'm glad I canceled my order, because The learning curve was towards computers, and I hated them. The firm paid me to work for them and hire anybody I needed for a computer expert to put, stuff together and prepare my speeches and things of that nature. So I got into computers after I retired, and I hate them. I've got 4 of them sitting here, but I hate them, Paul. The 101D, I would take over most of the other rigs because it is totally dedicated to SDR. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought about the 7610. There's guys that love them both. I should say they love one or the other. And I'm not sure which way to go. I'm still doing some research and some reading. And I kind of still like old school stuff, like the newer stuff like an Anon or a Flex or anything like that. That's a total SDR, just is a total turnoff to me. Not that they're not good radios, it's just nothing that I want. I want a box with knobs. I like a knobulated radio, so to speak. So, I don't know. I'm still doing some reading. The one thing I don't like about the 7610 is it only listens at 3.6 wide. And I generally like to listen to a little bit wider at 4K if I can. Like a day like today, I won't, because the band's a little more crowded. But you get a late night on 75, and you can open up the receive and enjoy the nice audio.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
One comment I do want to make about the 101D, and it's a good comment. If you got it when it first came out, they had some problems. They really did, and that's what took them so long to get the 101D and the MP out is through the FCC, and all that kind of stuff. But they've got those problems cleared up, and they're pretty reliable, and so is the FTDX 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know they, like with the latest firmware they just came out with not too long ago, they're good radios. A lot of guys complain about that scope, because there's no averaging on the scope. And to me, I do prefer the averaging, but it's not a deal breaker not having it. I just haven't decided which way I want to go with, which one I want to pick yet. And I'm kind of leaning towards the D, but I don't know for sure.
The menu system is consistent from all the way back to the 1000 MP, and I love it.
Can't be any worse than what I have in my 890. That one is extensive.
Hey, I got to jump out, guys. I'll say 7-3. Have a great day, Paul. Nice to hear you. Great to meet you, Bob. And we'll catch you again. I do need to move. You guys carry on. K1 GMM. Thank you.
Okay, nice meeting you, Steve. We have talked in the past, but I can't remember when, and but I remember the call. 73, and we'll chat again.
See you, Steve. Nice to run into you. You generally run into you with Jerry W1W JWC down at 75 in the mornings. Okay, have a good day. Maybe we'll catch you later on. K1 GMM 83G.
83G, man. Yeah, good to hear you. Boy, both you guys' signals came up. Pushing a little power. Sounds great. We'll catch you later. 7-3. K1 GMM clear.
The band is up.
All right, you guys, we'll see you later. I have got to haul ass. Discord. Yeah, I'll see you on Discord, Jonathan, a little bit later. Hey, what's going on, Mike? How you doing? Good morning. Good to see you in here. KG2MM Mickey Mouse. Adios, guys. Got to shut it down. I got to get to Arlington, pick up my mother. It was her birthday the other day. She's coming up for